Now, let's welcome, all the way from Singapore, very special guest, Rohit Dadwal, CEO and Board of Directors, MMA Global APAC, and Global Head of Smarties Worldwide. Big round of applause, guys and girls.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, little. So that was a very broad overlook that Monica presented. Very colorful slides. I don't have so much color in my slides, so I'm just setting the context. My slides are going to be a lot more boring. But I can assure you they are very interesting in the spirit of where we are as an industry, where we are headed as an industry. I think it is critical, imperative of how we adopt what's coming. And the change is already here. It's been upon us for a while. It's nothing new. And I think it's only going to get fast-tracked as we start the adoption. And I'm talking about the one thing that everybody talks about, which is AI. Okay. So if you look at it, I actually don't need to talk about this slide. It's self-explanatory. But we believe that every 13 years, there's been this transformation of the technology that has helped adopt marketing, or the consumption of everything we as consumers, we as people, we as marketeers do. The first phase was personal computing, which helped productivity. Second was internet, which helped the connection. The third was mobile, which was the billions and the reach of 7 billion people and so on and so forth. And the next phase, we believe, is going to be AI. Now, if you were to take a moment and think about this, think about PC, internet, and mobile. And imagine what you personally as a consumer, as a marketeer, have gone through it and have adopted each one of those, and how integral that has become part of your lives. Imagine that, and then imagine what's going to happen when all of them are compounded by AI. That's very powerful. We need to take a moment to reflect on that. How many people in this room started with search as the first thing that they wanted to do? Then programmatic, and so on and so forth. Display and banner ads, and the likes of all those things. Now you don't even think about it. It's given. It's part of every marketing plan. All of that compounded with AI and the use of AI. What I'm going to talk about is not the broad landscape of AI, but one very specific element of that, which is personalization. Now, we all believe the holy grail of marketing is talking to the right customer at the right time with the right message. Right? And if we can do that, the old words of Mad Men, which says 50% of advertising, we don't know what happens to that. The effectiveness that came with digital, still being able to track and measure it, but really don't know whether the effectiveness is coming through. All of those questions get answered if you are able to get to the right person at the right time with the right message. So over the next 10-15 minutes, I'm going to take you through a journey of a methodology that we built at MMA. We've actually taken this as a leadership program called AI Leadership Coalition, which is actually a group of 200 senior marketeers around the world looking at what needs to be done with respect for marketing excellence when it comes to AI. We've adopted 4 of those. Again, as an industry body, we would love to do everything, but there's time, effort, and resources. We've said we'll work on personalization, creativity, and measurement, and responsible AI. And maybe in days to come, something else. So with regard to that, the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the only thing actually is personalization. And I'll start with this very basic approach on the methodology which we've developed in partnership with some of the universities and professors. And The basic starting point is we all know what A/B testing is. You test a particular ad, you test that ad, another ad, you know which one works better, and then you know what the uplift is. It's simple maths, right? If you look at that and start to build that and subdivide that ad into cohorts, male versus female, and so on and so forth, you know there's already yet another upside that comes to it. Now imagine if that can be done with thousands in the old format of A/B testing, but being done in thousands and hundreds of thousands ad creative units in real time, what will be the upside? That is the personalization that I'm going to talk about. So our typical media approach has been about finding a media audience, particular cohort or group, and creatives that rotate in market based on that typical audience, the cohorts, etc. That's the whole starting point. But in AI, what tends to happen and starts to happen is that you are looking at all the data models, all the signals, and start to build real-time cohorts, which is not decided by you, which is decided by the message that is there on the ad, the creative that's there on the ad, and the call to action that is there on the ad. You as creative folks or the marketing people are enabling those key deliverables for the consumer, but you are not deciding what is to be served to whom, when, and where. That's what AI does for you. That's the real-time marketing. So on this, what you will see, it develops the content models. This is a video which will run. You can see the video. But what we've done as a methodology is said, and this is the suggestion that we've done. We've done many case studies, and I will talk about a couple of them, that there are 3 themes. You can see the images changing on the theme, images changing on the background, the headline that changes on each of those backgrounds, and the call to action changes on each of them. These are done by humans. This is not generative AI. If you have 3 creatives, 3 headlines, 3 call to actions, and 3 backgrounds, you do the compounding effect, it is 72 different creatives that can be generated. Either you do them all physically, or you do them on a random basis. Now, what tends to happen is, we do this, AI does this generation on a real-time basis if we were to provide them the 3 backgrounds, 3 content headlines, call to actions, etc. Based on the consumer demand, the preference, the cohort, the signal, what changes in real time, how the traffic is changing, how the audience is changing, it will generate one of these creatives in real time and serve it. So it becomes very targeted, very personalized based on the consumer behavior. The AI basically matches the ad impression that comes to that particular desire of the consumer creative. What tends to happen, and this is a very broad-based scale, but what I can tell you is we've done 10 case studies out of this. We've seen an average lift of 100% or more in the same media plan, with the same creative campaign, with the same media planning and the media budget. Each one of them have effectively generated more than 100% yield, which is done and taken care of by optimization of the ads. In case with General Motors, we did this in US. They had 2 colors of the new truck that they launched. There was a brown color and a red color truck. It was a video campaign. All these campaigns, by the way, are measured only on the open internet. They are not measured in walled gardens because we don't get enough insights to generate the reports that I'm talking about. And in all of these cases, there were these creatives that were generated, and the call to action was to submit the video, to submit the visit to the website for generating leads. We had a 68% uplift. In the second case, so they did 27 creatives. In Kroger is an online D2C grocery shop in US. they had launched a free delivery service as part of their plan. They generated 72 different creatives with those 3 headlines, 3 backgrounds, 3 call to actions, and so on and so forth. And they got 259% increased traffic based on the AI optimization. They got 67% more click-throughs and 17% more transactions on the grocery store compared to when they were not using AI. So this is the broad picture. This is just setting the context. And this can be done not only on video or display, it can be done on audio, it can be done on any medium that you think. We did this with Monday.com on their audio ads which ran on FM radio. And they also saw a 188% increase in the lift, where they were trying to drive. Monday.com, by the way, was a B2B service, not a B2C service. And they could effectively drive volume and optimization by these random transactions. So on an average, we also did it with ADT, which is a security service company. And you can see, so in the first case, the KPI was site engagement, second was videos, third was app installs, and the fourth was lead forms. And all of them yielded the kind of results that you see. So that is just the context setting of how AI can actually empower the optimization of what you currently do. You don't have to change a thing. Your media plan doesn't change, your media budget doesn't change, your structure doesn't change, your mapping doesn't change. Nothing needs to change. All of that needs to go through the AI tool. If AI can optimize it and send to the cohorts the signals, imagine 1296 new signals with the metadata platform with the 72 creatives. You are almost generating 133 million opportunities for targeting to the consumer, which manually is impossible. Whether you are doing DCO, whether you're doing programmatic, no matter what you are doing, it is not possible. And that's the point. So you need to go beyond that. You need to start looking at adopting. AI is not cheap. If somebody believes AI is cheap, it is not. But experimenting is cheap. You need to do it now. Because if you see the kind of results that you see, you will be encouraged to make the right investments. AI optimization or anything that one wants to do with AI. We've been doing AI or machine learning for the last 10 years with customer service, chatbots, etc., but that's all evolving. But making the investment to get the better yield, you have to continue investing. You have to do it on an ongoing basis. So just to set the context, why and what's the difference, and a few times that I've presented, people later on have asked me the question, what's AI? Isn't this also DCO or similar to DCO? You all know what DCO is, right? Nobody has. DCO is actually a rule-based methodology. It's triggered based on the cohorts and the signals that have already been defined. It leverages cookies, integrates into the feeds, and so on and so forth. However, on the other side, it is fully autonomous. You don't control it. AI controls the decision making. And that by itself is the fundamental truth of the role of AI. You are not doing it. AI is doing it for you. It makes the right decision for the right creative, for the right message to the right audience based on tracking the consumer behavior, based on tracking the media, based on tracking the profile. And you cannot pull it back. If let's say a particular creative is not working, you don't pull it out because it may not be working in the right moment at that time, but it could work later. So you let AI decide that, and the entire production is automated. I'll give you an example. If it was a DCO model, you would actually say, okay, this color of the ad will run on Thursday at 5 p.m. and so on and so forth. But in an AI model, everything is run at all the time at the right time. So that's the broad underlying differentiation between DCO. The second part is AI modeling. So how does AI modeling work? This slightly technical, but very simple to understand. There's a request to the ad server. There's an impression request that comes based on supervised models that have already been put, the media plans been structured, the creative decisioning already been done, the formats, the layouts, etc. Now imagine this as an impression call that comes from a consumer. The entire decision making between there happens at one level, which is at AI's level. The AI data is not encoded. It doesn't capture any PII data. The identity graph, I hope you can read this. The AI takes the opportunity to learn and then enforces what decisions, what creatives need to be sent. The media is encoded, the content is enabled and digested, and AI adapts it to actually serve to the consumer. And that's where it starts to earn. On an average, across all campaigns, we've seen first 10% of the impressions, 10%, you don't really get the yield. Because that's when AI is learning to optimize. As you all know, it needs to learn to be able to provide the data. So the first 10% is optimization, and it takes, on an average, a little bit of between 1 to 2 weeks if the campaign size is 40 million impressions. That's our guidance to do these tests. The moving of the machine learning to AI models, you will see on this graph that most of them actually yield the results after the learning phase. And then it has a transformational growth on optimization and control the status. The third is creative decisioning. This was a campaign that was done for Shell. And if you see the creatives, each creative had different backgrounds, different call to actions, different messages, and different creatives. All of them were rendered differently based on the consumer cohort, based on the media signals, based on the consumer preferences. And these were some of the cohorts that were decided and the signals based on that. Each image was changing based on the consumer preference and can be done. And in this, when the cluster modeling happens, I've shown you the example of Shell, but the answer of that clustering, I'm showing you the Ford, is if you can see which particular ad was shown at what time was decided by AI and was optimized to serve based on the demand from the consumer. A small example I'll talk about is Shell is actually a sponsor of F1. On the first race, the Bahrain race, there was an accident for a driver that happened at 7 o'clock in the evening. The campaign was already live. The creative that actually had the picture of that particular driver who had an accident before the thing was the most served creative by AI. Nobody told AI. It's searching the web. The information was on the web. The news was on the web. And it real time picked that up to serve that. And they had the highest yield of that particular creative. So that's the kind of example that if you see and compare, and it has predictive performance linked to it. Last part is the creative decision making, which ad, what call to action, etc., is taken by AI on your behalf. So it's a very simple, but yet very powerful message that I want to leave you with. If you are looking at building your marketing campaigns, please start looking at how to use with the one small step. Don't do everything on AI. Maybe generative, maybe personalization, maybe whatever you want to do. From MMA's perspective, we build the methodology, we have the structure, we are enabling all these tests for a lot of marketers around the world. And it's very simple, it helps you achieve the kind of results. And when you see the results, the decision making, to Monica's point, the CMO versus CEO, effectiveness versus optimization, etc., all starts to get enabled. For you to participate in this test, very simple, you need to have 75 variations created by the creative team or the backgrounds, 40 million impressions over a month, and defining a digital KPI. If you can do that, you can use your existing marketing plan, existing campaign plan, and we can input it with an API, the AI API, and enable that. Do remember, the first 10% or the first week is not when you see the results. You will see the lift from 100 to 200 to 300% after that. But I can assure you, you will see that lift. That is the power of AI. So that's all that I wanted to talk to you. You have your media plan, you have your creative plan, you have your technology, your current ad serving technology, whatever the case may be, make sure you inject AI from an optimization perspective. And I can assure you, you will not look back. That's the future. That's where the industry is headed. I hope you all will be part of that growth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rohit. I hope we got nice pictures of him. Awesome. He's truly left us equipped with how to drive transformative growth.